Okay, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestleslam, the podcast brought to you by the Macau Casino, Cork City. And we bring you a fresh episode, and we are going to dedicate this episode to the great, the icon Sting, who had his last match just a couple of hours ago at All Elite Revolution. And again, the show is brought to you by Manscaped and the Macau Casino, Cork City. So make sure you do check out the MacauCasino.com for all the latest info on events and more there. I'm joined by the one and only Matt Murphy and Phil Connolly, and we bring you yet again a brand new episode, and we're going to go balls deep, guys, right into it. Sting has officially retired, and what a send-off it was. Phil, we're going to go to you first, my man. Let's give us your thoughts on Sting's send-off last night before we go in depth about his career over the past 30-plus years.
The match was wild. It wasn't what I was expecting. There was a lot of glass. There was a lot of dangerous stuff, and a lot of really cool moments. Particularly the entrance with his sons.
And the fact they look so like him.
Yeah, they were made up to be NWO, Wolfpack Sting, and the old Surfer Sting.
Well, the old Surfer Sting was it was like I thought it was a hologram at one stage. It was that good.
Yeah, it was just both sons.
When I saw the entrance, I thought they were just like really professional cosplayers. They got to be Sting, but then Tony Khan actually said that those are his actual sons. I was like, Jesus Christ, they actually bop off him. Like, scary, but nice one.
Yeah, it was mad. Let's talk about the match, Matt Murphy. Obviously, look, Sting, Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks. All Elite Wrestling Revolution. It's one of their big pay-per-views. What was your thoughts on the match? Obviously, we know there was a lot of carnage, but it was a great send-off, wasn't it?
Yeah, lad. You know what? We saw so many like last matches where like when usually an older wrestler keeps competing, but you have to do safe. They have to make it safe so they won't hurt themselves. Satan went all out, like and like no matter what age he's gonna be, he's always like competing like he's in his 30s.
He's 65 at the moment, by the way.
Yeah. Does that make him the longest ever active wrestler?
I'd say Ric Flair considers himself active. He must do.
Well, yeah, sorry.
Flair. No, but he must do. Like, I know he's not, but in his own head, he probably does.
Yeah, but when you look at the career span, like, so obviously The Undertaker was 30-plus years, Sting was 30-plus years. Yeah, look, Flair without a doubt is probably the longest. He's probably done 40, 50-plus years, like.
50, I think it was like 51. No, yeah.
Plus years. Yeah,
If you want to go even deeper, I'd go with Mae Young, who's almost 90.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good question. Who's the longest active wrestler in all of World Wrestling Entertainment? I wonder.
There was Terry Funk as well.
Yeah.
As well with himself, like he was also there.
Yeah, it's true. I suppose Sting would be in that category of top 10, definitely.
Yeah. But as for my review on the match, like there's a lot of carnage, like you said. I rarely would squint whenever I see a wrestling match, but as I have a thing about glass, it's just like we all know the pain of it. So seeing Darby actually going through it, I was like, yeah, Darby's a mad fucker. Whatever he's
My only thing with that was it real glass?
It looked like real glass.
Because when Sting got thrown through it, the glass went everywhere, and I thought it went in the crowd.
Was it plate glass? Glass?
I think it's sugar-coated glass. That makes that explosion. Like, if you remember, I'm not going to try and relate stuff, but I remember being a kid. Well, not a kid, a teenager in school, and we found the bulbs, like, them big fucking long bulbs, and we were saying, right, they make a big pop, obviously, when you smash them, and the smoke comes out of them, like, so I think they're not them ones. They're maybe something that's more effective, and that can make the same impact,
But he did hit the ground like really hard though when he went through the glass. But anyway, Darby, hopefully he's better. But let's going to go back about Sting. Yeah, I think it was a good end of the era match. Look, I'm gonna say this now, but for so long I was still hoping for Sting versus the Undertaker. But look, we got a actually really good match out of this, like himself and Darby Allin. And of course, it was just a unreal like moment. With him like tanking everyone in AEW, Tony Khan doing one last It's Sting moment. I think he's a man of his word. He is not going to be wrestling anymore, unfortunately. He's not going to pull a Ric Flair, possibly, maybe. but I want to see him still with AEW having like some sort of management role. Like, look, AEW Revolution was actually a good pay-per-view, and we always talk shit about AEW, how it is. Maybe he's gonna help Tony Khan at the back, like how to get people more tuned in. But no, it was a great send off for Sting, like lads.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
Phil, do you reckon he stays with All Elite, or do you reckon look contracts up, he gets something in the back, or does he go back to TNA, or does
I think he'll just slither away into the background, and he'll do it if Tony Khan needs him. He's there. That's all. That's all.
Does he do a European tour? Do we get to see him do Q&As?
I'd love to see him do a tour of Ireland and UK first. Ring inside the ropes.
Is he up there with Kurt Angle if he comes? Big crowds.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He sells out probably within 48 hours, like easy.
Yeah, sure. He's like not one person who has a bad thing to say about him. He's probably the nicest guy that people always on about him over the years.
If Sting does come to Cork, I can see Phil rocking the face paint.
Oh, I'd nearly do it myself, to be honest. I really would. I sometimes forget how lucky I was to meet him in New Orleans. And I'll tell you a little story. This is like, I just happened to go to WrestleCon on the Sunday morning. It was quite early. I got there. We got these like early access tickets, and I was there with Darren Blake and Timmy Cronin, and I just got in there early, and they were all setting up whatever. But Sting just happened to be there, say at 11 a.m. and it wasn't too busy because I suppose the rest of the crew were going to get in after 12. But I just went straight over to him, and there was no one queuing up. He was like, I was probably the first person actually to get that picture with him when I went over. But I just said, look, Sting, I'm a massive fan, and he's like, you from Ireland? He's like, yeah. And he goes, how'd you find New Orleans? I goes, man, it's so different to Ireland. And he was like, I remember being in Dublin. He was like, he goes, you guys know how to party. He goes, there's such a following for wrestling in Ireland. And I was like, yeah. He goes, do you have any plans to come back? He goes, I'll always try and get back to Ireland. So he must have been here prior to the, was it the American Wrestling Rampage, or do you know the one I'm on about, Phil, where they came to was it the Point Depot 3 Arena?
Yeah, there was like a random amount of wrestlers came over.
Yeah, I think it was AWR it was called. I think Scott Steiner was there, Booker T, but he was there anyway, and just chatting away to him, like, and it was kind of cautious to see like was anyone waiting to get the picture, like, but obviously then people started coming in, but I must have spent like 4 or 5 minutes just chatting to him, and I just remember to get the face paint on, like the red jacket on.
That's the most class thing about it.
Yeah, I think because he was doing the Wolfpack face maybe the day before, but it was just surreal. Like, I remember walking over to Darren Blake, and Darren Blake's got this cool vibe about him. He's like, well, wasn't it? He was like, wasn't it everything you expected? I was like, man, that was just surreal, just meeting Sting. But yeah, like, the man is iconic, and I really do hope that Kenny McIntosh and the crew at Inside the Ropes, they book him for an Irish UK tour, because I'd easily pay 150 quid, lads, or more, to meet that man again.
Because unfortunately, like, I didn't get a chance to ever meet Sting. I would love to meet him, not just because it's Sting, but because like a lot of people like yourselves out here who meet Sting at like meet and greets, he likes to take time to actually talk to you. He's not one of these fellas that be like, oh, nice to meet you, photo, okay, bye. He wants, even as a few seconds, he wants to get to know yourself, and that's something that I want to experience. Like, yeah, he could be sound. He might be tired coming to Ireland because Cork's far away from anywhere else. But yeah, that'll be it. If Kenny McIntosh is watching and managed to get Sting, and not even just meet him, I just want to hear all the stories that he got from WCW, TNA, AW, and the dreaded WWE run he had. But it was still iconic.
Yeah. Let's talk about the runs, okay? So obviously we'll go backwards, okay? We'll start at All Elite Wrestling, okay? Phil, how did you rate his run in All Elite Wrestling, being a 60 plus year old man?
I think this was a man in his 40s wrestling with a what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like he had a point to prove. Because of his WWE run was so lackluster, and he wanted to go out on his own terms, I suppose. But he was, all his matches in All Elite Wrestling are all just top of the care. Even like his show stealing match at the London show with the coffin match, they had no right to be that good with who was in it. Unbelievable match in England with the Like, because when we heard a coffin match, we're going, oh, we kind of rolled our eyes and we're like, this is going to be a train wreck. But it just was so good. And all his matches are, and he just takes so much risks for a man in his 60s. Because he was 60 years old when he joined AEW, and he's never lost a match, which I'm kind of delighted that he didn't lose late yesterday.
Isn't Tony Khan like a godsend in the sense of like he wants the wrestlers that maybe didn't get the recognition they deserve? Now we know Sting's a legend. Look, WCW,
Yeah,
TNA, he's done it all, and like obviously WWE. Look, obviously wrestled Seth Rollins, Triple H,
and all losses as well. That's the other side of it.
Yeah, but isn't it like Tony Khan, the guy that kind of tidies everything up? He wants all these guys to bow out, like even the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, and like there's this and that, like you know what I mean. But it's
That's because he's a
like
fan. That's because he's a fan, like all of us.
yeah.
Yeah, because I do remember at his Hall of Fame speech, WWE, and he announced his retirement, and it was emotional. But part of us, I was like, really? I mean, that's how it's gonna end because it dawned on me. It was like, yeah, he had a lot of losses in WWE. It was a WWE's class, but it wasn't like very like built. So I thought, don't end it like that, Stinger. Come on, lad. But no, AEW happened and rest is history now.
Yeah. Let's talk about that WWE run, okay? How many matches? I'm gonna like in my head, I think he only had 3. He probably had way more than that.
He had a few. He did, but I can't remember the exact total. But it's definitely around 5.
Yeah, I know there was the Rollins match.
There was a Raw match as well that people don't talk about.
Triple H. Who did he wrestle on Raw, do you reckon?
Oh, it was a bit good few. It was a good while back. I can't remember the actual match, but I remember him fighting. I'm gonna have to check it there while you're.
Yeah, I just want to say, and this is out of place, but like when I saw Sting on WWE, even if I watch highlights, it's weird seeing him in a WWE ring. I don't know why. I think it's just because I've always seen him in WCW, TNA. I was like, now he's finally in WWE. I was like, it's weird seeing him in a WWE ring like that with the WWE logo and everything.
Yeah, so he teamed with Cena to fight Rollins and Big Show.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was
And
it.
he also fought Big Show on Raw as well. So he's actually had a few Raw matches.
Yeah. Why do you think his run in WWE was so bad? Why
I just think they didn't get who it's like that Bret Hart thing years ago when Bret Hart went to WCW. They didn't get what made Sting so special.
Yeah.
They like he did change his song. He kind of became less what's like he spoke. The minute he spoke, he was doomed. Like he spoke with Triple H, he should have just. It was just so wrong. It just didn't feel right, and people knew it as well. I think he knew it as well.
Yeah. I think other thing was like they made a build-up promo for Sting, and his whole backstory was WCW ended and Sting just went away. He didn't do any wrestling and all that, and then years later it's WWE. But we kind of know it was like, no, he didn't. It was TNA.
Also, as well, like WWE,
Yeah.
WWE tend to rewrite history, and fans really didn't like that NWO saved him.
Yeah, because like fucking, I know that was the Wolfpack, but it was the run NWO, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it was really strange because they were feuding for years, and people were like, "This makes no sense."
But why didn't they bring out like NWO Wolfpack? Like it was Nash, it was Nash Hall and Hogan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Nash, Hall, Hogan, and X-Pac was there as well.
But that could have been the one time they introduced the Wolfpack.
Yeah, like Vince McMahon wanted to do a segment with DX and NWO. That's all it was. That's all. Yeah. That's all that was, and to take it away from the match.
And he wanted to eliminate the show DX was stronger than NWO, basically by wiping
so
them out.
Like if WWE don't treat Sting as important, then we don't. You know, it's just that kind of. I think that's a lot to do with what happened.
Was there beef there between Triple H and Sting? Or do
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
I don't think so. I think people try to like if people are saying online WWE are going to say yes, but I don't think so.
Yeah, it was a good match actually. That Mania match, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, it was good, but it's just Sting shouldn't have lost. Or Sting should have won that.
Yeah, but I suppose Triple H had a few losses at Mania too. Maybe that's why, you know.
I think I remember when you mentioned about the NWO. I think the reason why it went so long was because fans kind of was expecting that Sting was going to join NWO, and he was actually gonna. And I think it's just to show that Sting's on against NWO, so they just like dragged it off so long. Because even Eric Bischoff admitted that Sting was actually going to be the third man, but Hulk Hogan apparently contacted them literally a few days before Bash at the Beach. It's like, yeah, I'm interested in doing this thing. So then they were like, okay, Sting's no longer the third man. We got Hogan. So yeah, if we all remember, it's kind of like the ultimate what if story.
Yeah.
What if Hulk Hogan never took up Eric Bischoff's offer and Sting joined the NWO? I think it's going to be very predictable at the time.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Let's talk about that TNA run, guys. Obviously, Sting had a great run on TNA. And just before we go into that, guys, we have to mention quickly, Paul Heyman will be inducted into the 2024 WWE Hall of Fame. Now, I'm kind of happy, obviously, that he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Is the timing right? I'm not sure, but we're going to get to Phil Connolly in a sec because this is something I want to hear. But Matt Murphy, what's your thoughts on Paul Heyman being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame 2024?
Yeah, it feels like yesterday that I saw the announcement. Okay, it actually happened today, but I feel like it was yesterday. It was that so long ago. But no, when I saw it, I was slightly happy that it was like it's good to see Paul Heyman. Even though he's a heel, even Monday wrestling fans who got introduced to him when he was managing Brock Lesnar back in 2015, 2013. Two. Oh no, when Paul Heyman actually came back.
12.
12, yeah. And a lot of modern fans looked at him like, who's this guy? Who's this big fella? And then years later, we all, everyone acknowledged who Paul Heyman was. And to me, he's always the best wrestling manager, to my opinion. Just because, like, whoever the Paul Heyman guy, he either knows who he's in the ring with or he actually does the talk with him. So seeing like Paul Heyman also starting up ECW, that just became iconic. From I think he was still living with his mom at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I remember just like him like having low money at the time with wrestling promotions, made his own one. So he's a good example on how to go with your own gut like. But as for him going into the Hall of Fame, I think it's kind of way too soon because like he's still active, and I'm like thinking, what's this means about Roman Reigns? Does that mean he's gonna drop the title? Or does that mean
that's what it looks like, doesn't it? If he's
because I always saw even if Paul Heyman is done, he's still gonna have a backstage like role. So I could see like another. I'm gonna be honest, about another 10 years, he should have been in it just because he'll keep going. And now, whatever I just said, Phil Connolly, you're gonna destroy it. Come on.
No, I'm just. Do you know what? I'm actually just pissed off with it. I'm more annoyed just because he's still on the roster and then he's not. It's not like he's on his line. What's the word I'm looking for? Not that he's on his last kind of run. I'm just kind of frustrated that they put people in who are still strong on the cards. I guess they're doing it because it's Philadelphia, which I can totally understand.
Is he from Philly? Yeah.
No, but ECW is a major Philly
association.
Yeah, so the big question is who inducts him.
Would you say Tommy Dreamer or Brock? Well, it's not going to be Brock Lesnar anyway because he's obviously under the spot.
Yeah, he's on it.
Does Tommy Dreamer do it? Although Tommy Dreamer once wanted to kill him, apparently, really kill him. Like,
yeah,
I think
you see that story, didn't you?
Yeah.
Tommy actually wanted to shoot him or something like. Yeah.
WrestleMania 17, he wanted to jump the barrier and kill him live on air.
Yeah,
that's hardcore.
Yeah,
I think for me, I'm not sure if there's still beef with them, but I could see Rob Van Dam inducting him.
You could go down that route, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine RVD. Hey man.
And it was like we'll just have a theory. It was like, is he high? Is he high? Is he high? No, he's not high.
Realistically, it probably should be someone like Brock, but it never will be.
And that's we won't get into that side, lads, but it is upsetting because Paul Heyman did make his career like.
Yeah.
Could it still be Brock? You just don't know, like.
It's hard to know. It really is hard to know. Like it's Philadelphia. It's Philadelphia. Like so, it could be literally, as you said, Tommy Dreamer would have to go through TNA, and I don't think they'd have an issue.
No, they won't.
don't
Not
think
this
they
day and
would.
age. I just think it's WWE that have the issues these days, really, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also, lads, we forgot to mention one man, CM Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, himself.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
Or how about another fella we never mentioned, Curtis Axel?
Hmm.
No.
Definitely not Curtis. Hmm.
Oh, okay. Not even all. He was like, oh, but yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I wonder if it was, say if he was inducted 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Just say it was 3 years ago, right? Do you reckon Vince would have inducted him?
I thought it would have been something that could have easily been, yeah. I was thinking that as well.
Mm. He's been around a long time, man. That invasion. There was even the ECW Raw. Remember the time the ECW wrestlers used to fight in Raw? Was it 98, 97, I think?
Yeah, 97, yeah.
If you ask me now, my favorite moment that whenever someone mentions Paul Heyman, there's one moment that comes to my mind, and it has to be him dropping the pipe bomb against Vince McMahon before Survivor Series. He just called out Vince McMahon in the ring, calling about his kids wanting him gone, Pat Patterson, Jeff Briscoe. Yeah, that was real. So that was probably my favorite moment of Paul Heyman if we're getting there.
Yeah, just it's interesting. As you say, look, what if then, what if now? You know, it's I reckon anyway, I'm gonna say this, that Vince would have inducted him 2-3 years ago, or Brock.
Yeah.
No, it's different, obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on, but I would be happy to see Tommy Dreamer induct him. I think Tommy, obviously, listen, he's well respected. He was obviously in WWE. His run in WWE wasn't the worst, wasn't the best, but anyway.
I think it
Yeah.
could be Rob Van Dam, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Realistically,
Yeah.
I think people know who he is, and Paul Heyman would probably be like, yeah, that's fine.
I suppose it's that pop as well. One of a kind. Yeah, he gets the crowd going, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, remains to be seen. Interesting times.
Me and Jerry knows him very well.
Yes. Or VD. Right, guys, let's talk about that. So I mentioned Sting and that TNA run.
Yeah.
Phil, how big was that TNA run? Was that some of his best work?
It was some of his out of the box thinking for sure. That Joker stuff was brilliant.
Yeah.
In 2011, I think it was.
Yeah.
He really knows when to push the boundaries to do something different because people want something different.
Yeah.
He loves to kind of push to make more creativeness from his character. Like, he didn't want to be that old Sting continuously through the run, but there was some brilliant stuff with that Joker stuff.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Very entertaining.
The backstage segment with him with Eric Bischoff where he had like a vulture.
Yeah.
It's like it landed on his desk and he said, "Have you ever seen the movie The Birds? Be careful, they go for the eyes." And he just leaves the room and Eric is just there with the bird like, stay.
Yeah. I remember that. It's yeah, like obviously, look, we look back to that TNA time where, like, you know, you had Sting, Hogan, Flair, Jay Lethal, you know, AJ Styles, you know, Abyss. There was.
But even just back to the old days when Sting debuted in 2003.
Yeah, Bear Money. They were good days. Like, that was a great time, you know, great time.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder why he chose to go to this small regional company like TNA over WWE, because he must have known that they wouldn't have used him right.
Yeah, but there must have been an offer there. It says surely he was offered something, like, was he?
Well, the thing is, a lot of those fellas had long contracts when they left OVW at the start.
Yeah.
And they weren't willing to just work for free. Basically, they were just like, "I'll just stay home, keep my money, and then I'll come in when that's up." But yeah, it's mad. It really is. And then so many highlights of his whole career in TNA and just in general. It was mad. I remember one match in particular. He fought Mick Foley in a cage match.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think it was Lockdown, one of the early ones, 2008 or 9.
Is that in your DVD collection?
No, TNAs are particularly difficult to get. Yeah, I will say, they're particularly expensive more than difficult to get. But yeah, that was, I remember that one being a very entertaining feud. Even though at the time people were saying Foley shouldn't be in world title matches. But yeah, it was just there's just so many things like that. Like his stuff with Kurt Angle was brilliant at Bound for Glories over the years. And I remember him being in Bound for Glory like every other year there for about 5 years.
Yeah, I remember too, actually, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just Dixie Carter loved him, and the wrestling world loved him.
Yeah, and they always will too, I think. They always will. Matt, what was your memories on Sting on TNA before we get to WCW? What was obviously TNA was big, you're a young kid, you're exploring the world of wrestling. Can you remember much of Sting on TNA?
I'm still a young kid. What are you on about now, for God's sake?
Extra young.
Yeah, extra young. What can I say? I mean, like, I'm youthful. What can I say? I'm using face cream. Let's move on. Speaking of face creams with the face mask of Sting, I don't know what I'm segueing to that, but yeah, his run with TNA, I remember absolutely loved Sting because, gonna be honest, lads, I knew of Sting, but I never really got into like WCW when I was younger. Ideally, when I was watching TNA, I mean, I knew of the company, never, but I got introduced to Sting that way. And I remember he just always brings this presence with him, just making him stand out with the face paint, the mind games, the bat, everything else about him. Like, and whenever he comes on the show, people just watch. Like, so TNA just didn't just randomly hire like this wrestler from the blast in the past. They actually wanted to respect him, who he is, like, and he was in major storylines, as I remember him against Aces and Eights, and like Phil said, against Kurt Angle, him against AJ Styles. He wasn't there as a part-timer. He was there for full time, like.
Yeah.
And like what Phil said, he knew the fans.
Yeah.
And he knew that not everyone's going to take him seriously with him being Sting, so hence Joker Sting was born. And I think that was my favorite moment of Sting in TNA, just his Joker gimmick. A lot of people didn't like it, but I fucking loved it. I fucking loved him just going completely insane, because he's at that point where he just wants to mess around with different type of characters. So I think that's my general favorite moment with Sting, just his run in TNA. He's iconic in WCW, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was iconic in like, I suppose, almost every organization he was in. Obviously 64 years old. He's going to be 65 on March 20th, guys, which is like 16 days time. He'll be 65. He's been on our screen since the late 80s, guys. It's been a tremendous career to date. Now we have to go to the WCW days. That's obviously where I first seen Sting on my screens. Now, yet again, he's had a couple of names in the wrestling ring. He used to be called Blade Runner Flash, Blade Runner Sting, obviously Steve Borden, and then Sting. He's 6'2", and he's built from Charlotte, North Carolina, Venice Beach, and Every Man's Nightmare. Trained by Red Bastien and Rick Bassman. He made his debut on November 25th, 1985. Obviously, guys, as we know, retired March 3rd, 2024. Now, he could have done a lot of stuff with Jim Crockett Promotions / World Championship Wrestling, guys, and that's where we could have first seen a lot of them. I'm just going to go through his titles quickly before we start talking a bit more. But obviously, he was an NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I think that was through TNA. He was a TNA World Tag Team Champion with Kurt Angle. He was a 4-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion. TNA Hall of Fame 2012. He's got many TNA awards. In WCW, guys, I'm just going to get to that quickly because there'll be a lot of people asking. Obviously, look, WWE was Hall of Fame 2016. He's had numerous matches of the year with Ric Flair. Right, let me get to WCW. So in WCW, he was only twice he was World Heavyweight Champion. He was a 2-time United States Champion. WCW World Heavyweight. Oh, sorry. Yeah. He was a 6-time. Was he a 6-time champion, Phil, in WCW? That makes sense, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So what's that? WCW International World Heavyweight Champion.
No, that was a weird moment back in the, is it 92 or something? Ric Flair left with the belt.
Oh yeah. That was it. That
Ric
was
Flair
it.
went to WWE and he took the belt with him. And then I think there was a whole lawsuit and there was a whole messy thing there. So it was weird actually, because if you look, a lot of people don't really remember it, but Rick showed up on it was a Superstars or Challenge with the big gold belts.
As Rick
But-
does.
And Bobby Heenan brought out Ric Flair, and Rick had the big gold belt. There was a whole controversy. I don't remember the whole story, but I remember there was a big controversy when Rick came out with that belt.
Yeah.
And then Ravishing Rick Rude had that Intercontinental belt that you're on about, and that's why Rick Rude has never won a world belt. He's won that one, but people think he did because this the same belt. It's really confusing. Because it's actually the big gold belt, but it's called what did you call it? Intercontinental World.
International, yeah.
Yeah, international. Yeah, so Rick Rude actually had that belt, and people see him with that belt, and they thought he was a world champion.
Yeah. How was he never world champion? Rick Rude is beyond me, man.
Had.
What a fucking specimen.
Yeah.
I always remember the day he died, Rick Rude. I remember back in them days we used to go up to the library in Knocknaheeny to use the internet. You'd pay like £1 for for an hour. And I always remember you could print things off. And I remember Rick Rude died, man. I couldn't believe it. He got a heart attack or there was something happened. But he was so young. But yeah, Rick Rude, what a specimen. But just to clarify, guys, that Sting was a 6-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion and a 2-time WCW International Heavyweight Champion. Some will claim he's probably an 8-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, but that's the status there. He was also a tag team champion, guys, so he's had the tag team belts on a few occasions. He's been a tag team champion with Lex Luger, The Giant, and Kevin Nash.
He's also fought in the main event of a Great American Bash in a one-on-one match for the tag belts, which was really odd. I'll always remember that. Him and Giant fought, or him and Lex maybe fought for the tag belts in a singles match.
Yeah.
In the main event as well, which was really odd.
In the main event, yeah. He's just incredible, like, and I know this sounds so cliche. I really hope that he does a tour of Ireland and the UK.
I think he will, just to pay back for the fans.
Yeah, I just really hope he does it. Bring Sting can bring these boys with him. We'll show all them a good time in Cork and Ireland. So Steve, if you want to come to Cork, man, and you're doing a tour, or you could bring the boys, we'll show you how good Ireland is. There's no doubt about that. But hopefully he comes, man, and Phil. Hopefully he comes, does a tour.
Yeah. And and Sting, look, I know you're probably like gonna make the money, but if you want to come on the Wrestleslam podcast, have a good chat. We're welcome with open arms.
Yes. He might waiver one fee just for us because we're Irish and we're from Cork and all that. But yeah, listen, I want to see this man do a UK Irish tour. I want to see him in Ireland. I want to see him in Cork. I want to see him in Cypress Avenue. This guy would fit out the Opera House, by the way, but I just want to see him in Cypress Avenue. You know, a pure wrestling venue for these kind of shows, and I'd be first in line to buy them tickets. So Sting, hopefully, my man, you have some tours in your sights, and we do get to see you. But yeah, what a career, guys! Like we've just spent over 30 odd minutes talking about this man. He's done it all. Obviously, he's a world tag team champion in All Elite Wrestling with Darby Allin. He's won one Dynamite award. He's won absolutely everything bar a WWE championship, which is crazy. But listen, that's all good. You know, I think the real wrestling fan will understand, you know, why and why not and such and such. But what a career, lads. What a career Sting's had. I'm going to miss him. I really am. But I'm glad at the same time that we've had him on our screens.
Like he couldn't have asked for a better send-off.
Yeah, but he's two boys out the Titletron, you know, the way the match went. Working with Darby Allin. I think he was really happy to work with Darby Allin too, guys. I really do.
Yeah. They're perfect matching, sorry. You know, like.
Yeah. No. What a man. But yeah, guys, I think that's it. Do we have any breaking news, Phil? Mark,
there's a bit of things that I wanted to bring up there before we. There was really big news. Trent Seven is now the new OTT world champion. I did post something last week, and I said to the lads, "Does it look like Trent is holding the world belt?"
You said that. I think Martin from the Five Marks podcast was completely out there with saying that Trent was going to win the match. I think a lot of people disagreed with Martin, but he's won.
I think is this more proof that there's no Scrapper Mania this year though?
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if there's no Scrapper Mania,
Because
guys.
they talked about it on Joe talked about it on the podcast, saying how hard it is to get a venue.
It can, but like you can't do OTT without a Scrapple-mania. And I think I'm on board with Be Cool. He deserves his chance, like.
Is that because it's obviously it's Paddy's weekend, yeah?
No, did you listen to the thing there that went out the other day?
Yeah, well Scrapper Mania is Paddy's weekend, isn't it?
Usually it is.
See,
Apparently
you have 3 boxing events, 3 massive boxing events on, and I think one of them might be in the National Stadium.
Yeah, apparently there's 16 days in a row where it's booked out. Which is, I'd be sad if it didn't happen.
Yeah,
it's a big deal that like shouldn't happen. You know.
Is it going ahead though?
Right
well,
now, not yet.
They haven't confirmed it. They have confirmed that local Rumble will be in the National Stadium next year, Matt and Phil.
Yeah. Which is a great night. So that's definitely something that they'll keep on.
Yes. But yeah, it remains to be seen what's going to happen. I hope it does happen because it's tradition, and we've always gone up for Scrapper-Mania too. That's their kiddie, that's the daddy. Do you know what I mean? Of many of the OTT events, but yeah, hopefully.
One or two more other stuff there that I've wanted to bring up as well. Moxley and Cesaro were wearing LOD spikes for their match last night. I'm just curious what was the reason. I'm guessing
the anniversary maybe or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, or maybe it was the venue they were in, because that venue is historic.
LOD was so good, like.
Yeah. And AEW are looking at bringing in Okada this week. This week, I think I just saw there as well.
You reckon it's going to happen? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Trying to see, is there anything else that I kind of caught my eye? Camille is still a free agent. Oh, I did want to bring up something actually that I thought was very funny last night. Maria May was dressed up as Toni Storm. I don't know if you caught this.
I saw that. Ultimate.
I thought it was Toni there. First off.
Yeah, what was that about, like?
I think she's trying to do some sort of stalkery thing, like she's in love with her.
I still do love the timeless Toni Storm, like.
Yeah.
Still loving that gimmick of the dramatics and like and I think my favorite Toni Storm moment is when she was accepting the women's title and they did like an old Oscar bit.
Yeah.
Watch the shoe. Tits out. Watch the shoe. No, Toni is really she's really cool. I think she stuck, but you know the way she left WWE as well, which is pretty cool, wasn't it? The way she just said, "This is not for me," like.
Yeah, and I remember the interview she gave was like when she woke up in the morning, leaving WWE was the last thing that she was planning for the day. She was not expecting it.
Yeah.
Happened.
Yeah, Matt, who's behind you?
Huh?
Who's behind you?
A chair.
I thought you were going to fall for it there for a second. Shit, we're live. Cut. Yeah, no, Toni Storm. I reckon, guys, I would not be surprised if she went back to WWE. Because Triple H obviously
I think a lot of them are going to jump back in the next few years.
Yeah. Why not? I have to mention quickly, guys, I'm Brian, and so is my wife. The Pav Cork City, Good Friday, March 29th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. You've got Debbie, you've got Anita, you've got Raven Creed, Owen Richards.
And you have a special host that hasn't been announced yet, but we'll tell that you'll know more when you watch the special we have out this week.
Yes, The special drops this Tuesday, guys. As you know, we record our episode here on Monday. The show goes out tomorrow night, and so does the RCW special. So the show will go out at 8 p.m. The RCW special film will go out at 9, do you reckon, or 10?
It could go out at 10, I think.
10 p.m. And we talk obviously about I'm Brian and so is my wife. Tickets, guys, are at eventbrite.ie/RCW presents.
And great few surprises. Just
so megas, and there's even stuff that we didn't talk about on the show, guys, that we are aware of that will happen. And you know what's happening in the pipeline in the near future is going to be incredible. RCW Have a crazy year ahead, guys, so just stay tuned. Get your tickets ASAP for this one. Good Friday is always a special show. Strictly over 18s at the iconic Have Cork City Good Friday. So get your tickets ASAP. I think, guys, that's it. That's another show wrapped up, I'd say. Don't forget, guys, we have a TNA icon on with us this week as well. He'll be on with us shortly. So if you have any questions, it's on the Instagram page right now, Wrestleslam. You can ask your questions. I will try and ask as many as possible. I had a tough choice this week. I had not that we get many options, but obviously we're very blessed to do a lot of stuff for TNA. But we had to, I suppose, pick between 3 names, and yeah, Frankie was the man I had to pick. I had to pick Frankie. But anyway, Frankie will be on slash Akkad. He was the what was that? What was that? The demon? What was it called again? Suicide, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He played Suicide for a while as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he'll be on with us this week, guys, for a big show.
But he's been there since the start of TNA, which is mad because 22 years now.
Yeah, Frankie's the man, but he is like he's so fucking.
But again, he bet on himself because he knew AEW was not working for him, so he decided, you know what, I'm going to go where I'm more appreciated.
Yeah, because it's weird. It's weird seeing Frankie out like in other companies. He's always TNA bound, like.
Yeah, I love Frankie.
Like he was in WWE for a small run, but it wasn't a lot.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. But guys, we will catch you all next week. Tune into our show tomorrow, Tuesday, 8 p.m. on YouTube, and our RCW special will drop at around 10 p.m. tomorrow as well, featuring Billy Bellum. We'll be back on next week, guys. We hope you enjoyed our Sting special with a bit of info/news on the side. And yet again, from myself, Jerry Collin, from the one and only Matt Murphy, and from the one and only Phil Conley. We will catch you later. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. We will see you soon. It's Wrestleslam the podcast.
Bye from all 4 of us. The mysterious person behind me. It's the unknown chair.